Hello and welcome to episode 168 of Flix and a Six. I'm one of your hosts, Anthony Costanzo. With me, forever and always, the man, the myth, the Outworld Yeast, Alessandro Bielsi. Say hello, Al. Nice. Also joining us this week, the Peanut Gallery makes his return. Say hello, Dominic.
Hello, Dominic.
You're the worst.
I was really hoping he was going to give us a thumbs up again.
On this week's episode, we ran into some crazy issues. We've been on this call for well over an hour at this point, and I completely forgot to get news and nuggets pulls from Al, so I've got no idea what's coming up, along with news and nuggets. And our flick of the week, Mortal Kombat. But first, Al, what are we drinking?
What are 2/3 of the show drinking?
What are 2/3 of the show drinking?
All right, so me and Anthony are drinking one of the many different Voodoo Rangers, because there's like a multitude of them.
I believe that's true.
So this is New Belgium's Voodoo Ranger. This is the Juicy Haze IPA. It's got, as always, a skeleton guy with... this one's got a gold tooth. I don't know if they always do.
He does have a gold tooth.
He's wearing what I can only describe as... Is that like a Launchpad McQuack hat?
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
Along with, I guess, a bomber jacket that is super flowery.
Yeah, it's got some dice on it.
Yeah, there's some dice on it too. He's definitely wearing a skull bolo tie.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some aggressive lapels. Some gold aviators.
I hope that one day someone describes my outfit as having aggressive lapels.
Well, hang on a second. We all know what aggressive lapels are, and they are what Joe Pesci wears in Goodfellas.
Sure, that's fair. That's fair. He also has a nice card, a little feather in his cap there.
Oh, I didn't even notice that, but yeah.
Ace of some sort, I would assume. Also, it looks like maybe he's playing backgammon by the reflection in his sunglasses.
Oh my god. It's a good call.
Dominic,
what are you drinking?
Peanut Gallery is drinking an espresso bean double brown ale called Electron Brown from Old Nation Brewing Company. And our logo I would describe it as the lesser-known Wright brother with no mustache, who is like the cool and edgy one, and he fixes the planes while also making them the beer and the coffee. That's how I would describe Electron Brown.
The lesser-known, right? Like when you said that, I assumed that there was like some history there that I didn't know about, of like where one of them is lesser-known.
He looks like he could be an early 20th century guy. He's got the nice wrench. He's got what looks like bicycle wheels in the background, and some coffee beans,
Okay.
like I said.
Are we thinking? Are you saying like a third Wright brother though?
Yes, not.
Oh, okay, I got
it. God, what the hell's the other one's name?
Redenbacher.
Wilbur?
Yeah, I meant to say Wilbur. Wilbur and no, it's Wilbur and Orville, isn't it? I think that's who it was.
Yes.
It's Orville and Redenbacher,
Yeah.
the famous.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
Can you imagine naming your son Redenbacher, right?
Oh man!
Sorry, this reminded me of Mr. Show with Bob and Dave when they had the sketch about the fifth previously unknown beetle that died.
Nice.
And they had all the people lamenting the loss of the beetle that they never knew they missed.
Oh man! Well, let's give our beers a taste, shall we? Cheers, folks! Cheers!
Cheers.
We earned this drink after that fucking
We
hell.
did.
45 minutes. Ooh, it's delightful.
Yeah, so I've had this one a number of times. This is actually from a set from like well over a year ago, maybe even two. Last time I had a barbecue that you were at.
Not Oktoberfest.
No, like before that. So
Okay.
it's been a while. But that's where this set came from. My brother-in-law brought some over the other day, and so I'm drinking some from the fresh batch.
Yes.
So it's even better.
Mine tastes bright and juicy and fresh, so I do not regret the age of it at all.
How familiar are you with the flavor of a Tootsie Pop?
I've had many of them. It's
Okay.
been a long time, but it's been I've had many of them.
The orange Tootsie Pop, the sugary sweetness of the orange Tootsie Pop.
Okay,
I
I typically
have that at
steered
the
away from
end.
the orange one, but
I have that at the end of the sip of this beer.
there's definitely some maybe even like orange Starburst. That's
okay.
Like,
all right.
well, I only say that not to contradict you, just because I've definitely had one of those more recently than I've had an orange Tootsie Pop, because that was my favorite Tootsie Pop.
It kind of sounds like.
Well, I also taste a little.
It sounds like an orange cream soda with like chocolatey hints in it.
See, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is I actually like it's not just the orange. There's like something weird at the end there that almost reminds me of chocolate, like of a chocolate toffee. But like I don't know. I really like this one.
It does have, for such a citrusy, clearly like light-bodied like IPA, there is kind of a weirdly malty finish to it that I think would give you that, even though it's not chocolate per se, it's that malty,
it's that
residual sweetness sitting on the palate.
Yep. Yeah. And with that being said, Al, I'm diving right in. I'm going 3 Thuckles on this one.
I was thinking exactly the same thing. This has been the best beer we've had in a few weeks. So
I agree. Well, fantastic.
And Dominic, what about your beer?
So my beer is I'm not a big fan of like coffee stouts normally, but this one is a hearty blend of brown ales and coffee stouts, and it's a nice mixture of nutty and coffee-y, but not overwhelmingly coffee, not like heartburn and indigestion and type of coffee. So it's nice mellow.
So not bad coffee.
Well, to me, all coffee is bad coffee. I am not a coffee aficionado. Yeah.
I was going to say, Dominic, notorious coffee hater.
Yes, sensitive tummy, and also it makes me feel like I have a heart attack after I have it, because I had a bad experience one time in technical training when I was doing these long hours of probably 12-hour days where I'm just going through PowerPoints, and my friend was kind of a pill popper. He had a pill for everything. Not in the illegal sense, but like,
Oh dear.
Dominic was literally snorting caffeine pills.
I would say he's like, hey man, if you fall asleep, you're gonna get in trouble. What's it called? It's like, yeah man, I can't stay awake. And normally what I'd do is I'd get up, I'd do some push-ups, I'd stretch it out. But in this case, he's like, here, try these. And I was like, oh, what are these? He's like, caffeine pills. I was like, what? I've never heard of such a thing. So, I took 2 of them.
This sounds like a Dare commercial.
I know. So what's it called? I tried these. They were completely legal. It's just I've never tried them before. What's it called? So I tried them, and my heart was pounding after about 5 minutes, and I thought I was going to have a heart attack. So the mixture of caffeine just not melding well with my system, and it messing with my already sensitive tummy, then what's it called? It's just a no for me with most coffee and coffee stouts.
Man, that I know that feeling that like when your body is mostly caffeine and nothing else. There was an Ozfest, and I think it was 06, and they were
was this the Rockstar Stories?
They were giving out free Red Bulls, and they ran out of water, so it was a thing. Ooh. Yeah, it was not a good look.
You had your own personal Fire Fest, but with
nobody
won and much more Ozzy Osbourne.
That's right. Nobody won that night. The music was great though. It was great. Awesome. I'm glad we're so you. All right, Dominic. How many Thuckles would you say you would give this beer? I'm going to let you finish Buffalo Billing.
Wow. What is the high end of Thuckles? What is the scale of
4?
Well, how many Thuckles do you have on your? How many Thuckles do you have on your hand? Because if you're missing the top of one of your thumbs, then you can only go up to 3 Thuckles on the scale.
So I guess I have 4 Thuckles. So I would give it a solid 2 to 2.5 Thuckles.
No. 2. It's 2 or 3.
Anthony already fought me tooth and nail to get to half points. We agreed on the Thuckles scale. He does not agree to bisecting Thuckles into half Thuckles. All right,
well, I will
a half Thuckle is actually a Bullman chuckle.
Yes.
Yeah, I will give it a firm 2 Thuckles.
All right, 2 Thuckles. All right,
it's best for your Thuckles to be firm.
Nice. Okay. Whatever that means.
It's made of bone, is it not?
Beers are good. The recording has finally kicked off. We're in a groove. Al, why don't you kick us off with some news and nuggets, whatever you might have?
Okay, so I have 2 things here, and then we can. Dominic, did you finish? I'm going to let you slowly sip that water. Did you finish watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
I did.
Okay,
so good, because we're going to spoil the shit out of it.
I thought he had, but I know we talked about it briefly yesterday, but I wasn't 100% sure if he watched the actual last episode or not. So anyway, Let's talk very briefly about, I know I was discussing it with someone recently, don't remember who it was. It might have been you, Anthony. I didn't know what happened to Master of None. And lo and behold, a trailer for season 3 dropped this week. Did either of you see it? Have either of you watched any of Master of None?
It's 2 no's.
Okay.
But I want to watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and add 2 no's, so that'll be the 4 no's.
It's 4 thuckles.
4 thuckles, 4 no's. Got it. Okay.
4 thuckles down.
So, are you guys familiar in any way, shape, or form with Master of None?
Yes.
It sounds familiar, but can you...
Aziz Ansari's show.
Aziz Ansari and Alan Yang created Master of None. They write it together. The first season, while not strictly speaking linear, follows a progression of events. The second season, even less linear and has even more specific progression of events by the end of it. And it just follows a young, late 20s, early 30s guy who lives predominantly in New York, with the exception of a black and white episode in which he lives in Italy at the beginning of season 2. And it's Aziz and his friends and how people of that age who are kind of figuring themselves out survive in the big city and all that. And, which is a kind of a classic setup to shows. What's curious is the show that was never said, it's going to be every year. So there was a year or 2 or 3, whatever it was, between the first 2 seasons. Now it's been 4 years, I think, since season 2. And in that time, Aziz kind of got softly canceled, I guess, or maybe softly canceled himself to work on himself and all that. And there hasn't really been a lot of news about him post Parks and Rec and post final or most recent season of Master of None. I know he did a little bit of stand-up, I think.
There was that stand-up that he did that was really good.
That was about all that we've seen or heard publicly from him in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, trailer for season 3 comes, and he's nowhere to be seen in the trailer. He's written this third season with Lena Waithe, who's been in the show an increasing amount across the run of it. And it seems to be following her, or at least that's what the trailer showed. It's not to say that that'll be the only thing that happens, but so far, that's all we've got, is that it's going to be following her character from the show and her girlfriend or wife. I don't know if they're married yet in the show, whatever. And it was kind of subtitled or taglined as Moments in Love.
This kind of sounds like a male, or at least the first 2 seasons, like a male version of Broad City.
Kind of, maybe. I mean, it doesn't, it follows just Aziz, but it follows his cast of characters. Like Lena Waithe is in a lot of the episodes. I forget the name of he's got 2 other, one of them is played by Eric Wareheim, who he's hysterical in the show. And I'm not even like the biggest Tim and Eric fan, but like he's great as his like best friend. There's another friend of his whose name I'm forgetting, and I also don't remember the name of the actor either. It's an Asian guy, and so they tell these like very specific stories where what it's like to grow up Indian, what it's like to grow up, I believe his friend is Chinese, Chinese American, what it's like to grow up as a black lesbian when the Lena Waithe episodes go, you know what I mean? Like, so you get kind of this broad mishmash of different like snippets of this. It always ultimately returns to Aziz's character and his storyline, but they spend entire episodes on other characters. And for some of them, he might only be in it for 5 minutes, which is kind of an interesting way to do it, where it's kind of just whatever story is most interesting for them to tell, they'll tell it. And I find it to be, it's not necessarily the best show, but it's a really good show. I found it to be really interesting.
Yeah. That's good. I needed something. We just finished Parks and Rec, and I needed another show to add into our list. So maybe
I wouldn't say it's strictly speaking a comedy.
Oh no,
there's a lot of funny.
I didn't think it was, but
there are episodes or sequences that are very dramatic, but I wouldn't call it a drama either. Right. I wouldn't call it a dramedy. It's whatever it chooses to be at any given time, which is kind of cool. It's a lot. Sometimes it's a lot, but it's cool. It's a good show.
Yeah, there's a fine line to walk with that style of execution, where it's like it's usually easy to be like, identity crisis. This show doesn't know what it wants to be. But there are the rare occasions where it's like, no, like this is the specific thing we're doing right now. And if you are leaning into that, then it works.
Well, and that's the thing is it builds itself episode by episode. Like like I said, tends to be through lines throughout a season, but each episode is meant to more or less stand apart to some extent or other. And they all knit together into feeling like a slice of that time and those people's lives. which is, if that's the only way that approach can really work, because if you build the foundation of each episode to be very strong in and of itself, then you can afford to kind of go off on these tangents like that.
Yeah. That's awesome. When does that come out?
I believe it said the end of May. I think it was the 23rd.
Cool.
And that's
nice.
on Netflix.
Yeah, I'll have to check out Master of None. That's something that I mean, I've been meaning to get to it, but now it seems like a good time, especially with another season coming out and just finishing another show that I was watching. So,
and it's a pretty short watch. I think both seasons are only like 5 or 6 or 8 episodes long. Like, it's not.
Are we 30 minutes, hour based on the episode? How's that work?
That I don't actually remember. It's been a while, obviously, since I've seen any of it.
Oh, cool. What else is going on in the news front?
Well, the only other thing I have is, I imagine, and I know this probably won't be as super interesting to Dominic, but Anthony, did you and Kim watch the Oscars?
Yeah. It
Go
was
on.
fine. It just wasn't. It was very blah. I mean, which is kind of to be expected in a year that was like the movies this year. Like they were not that great. The ones that I saw, I haven't seen all of the movies that were nominated for Best Picture. I've only seen actually a handful, maybe even two or three of them. The ones that I saw were very good. I really liked them. Neither of them won, but I will definitely see the winner of the Best Picture. But
so I was surprised, because I know you and Kim usually make an effort to see all of them. I didn't realize how closely in the same boat you were to me, as I mentioned.
Yeah,
we're like, oh, I'm way behind on this.
Exactly. So the thing is, it's usually like front of mind around February, right? Like like that's when it's happening. Early, like in January, late January, we already know like what we should be watching, and we're watching as much of it as we can. This week, obviously, completely missed all of that information up front because it didn't happen until April, and then by the time it was coming, it was like, oh, that's next week.
So it snuck up on you the same way it did me.
Yeah, it's like, what have we seen? So we watched Trial of the Chicago 7, Judas and the Black Messiah, and I feel like there was one other one that was
Sound
up for
of Metal.
things. Sound of Metal, that's right. So 3, Sound of Metal. Those 3 movies were incredible. I'm actually like, I really need to see the movie that won, Nomadland. I have to see that one because I feel like what's happened in the past is when I've seen these Best Picture films, like when I've seen, like I don't need to see the rest of them before I hit the one that I'm like, oh, this is my pick, and it's probably not going to change. Very rarely has that been the case. Like I love movies, so like when there's one that like I really resonates with me, that like ends up being like my top pick. A lot of cases, it's been the one that wins, which I like that. I was floored that Judas and the Black Messiah didn't win. Just like, I don't know have you seen it?
No, I wasn't floored, because everything I had been hearing for months was that Nomadland was probably the favorite to win. So
I definitely need to watch that. I was like, I got emotional watching that movie. It was really, really well done. It's super heavy. It's incredibly well executed, and it didn't win Best Picture, but it got some other awards, so that works. So I definitely need to see Nomadland, because I'm curious, like if that one, like I'm imagining if that won over the one that was like I couldn't imagine something else beating this year, then it must be very good.
It's funny because I felt that way directly after we were done watching Sound of Metal. I was like, okay, like there may be something that changes my mind, but right off the bat, this feels like to me the one I would choose, because we watched Trials of Chicago 7. We talked about it last week. Really, really good movie. I would not have been offended if it won it, but I still would have leaned Sound of Metal. Now, I haven't seen Nomadland. I haven't seen Judas and the Black Messiah. I don't know much about that one, but I do find vaguely curious is I didn't even realize that we were getting Diane Kruger, because that movie also heavily features Fred Hampton, right?
We're not getting Diane Kruger. What we're getting is Volcano Dante's Peaked.
Same thing, tomato. Well, no, the reason I specifically said Diane Kruger is because I never heard of Fred Hampton before.
Okay,
and
gotcha.
2 movies featuring him that were both nominated for Best Picture came out in the same year. That was why. So it was somehow an amalgamation. It was the Diantes Kruger Kano.
yeah, that's fair. No, so definitely want to watch Nomadland. There was something that I was getting all confused. So we had to record it. Kim had a class, and then we went back and watched it. So we were like watching some of the awards, fast forwarding through commercials, like getting through it quickly, and then like there was weird things happening with like how much time was actually left in it, because those things always go over, and then we basically ended up missing the end.
Mm-hmm.
then we quickly looked up what won, and we were cool with that. But we were like, oh, weird. Don't remember seeing Best Actor.
Yeah.
And we were like, what? So we looked it up, and the reason being that they shifted Best Actor to be put after Best Picture, with the assumption that the favorite Chadwick Boseman was going to win Best Actor as an award posthumously. It was going to be a big
send-off moment, right?
Right. Instead, we give it to Krusty Hopkins, who's not even there.
Which I guess goes to show you that like moments like the La La Land Moonlight thing are authentic, where even Steven Soderbergh, who was like directing and producing the show, didn't know who was going to win Best Actor, because if he did, he wouldn't have done that.
Right, exactly. So that was interesting, but we missed that whole debacle just because of the way the recording was working. Overall, there was some fun. They did some fun stuff, like in between sets. It was entertaining, but not nearly like.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like Glenn Close shaking her ass or something.
That was kind of funny, but like that whole skit they put together was very silly.
Dominic's facial reaction there was priceless. Just the combination of words of Glenn Close and shaking ass.
Not normally a sight I would expect to see at the Oscars. Not something I'd necessarily request either.
No, your desire to see it notwithstanding. My point is, clearly you had not heard of this because it's been taking the internet by storm for the last few days.
Nice.
And we're truly not expecting to hear that sentence.
But overall, it's just a very underwhelming Oscars. I guess it definitely doesn't help that I didn't see all the movies that were up for Best Picture. That definitely helps me.
Sure.
I'm
for me,
into it for that.
I'd say I had no interest in watching it because I watch it to watch it with you guys. And also, I like to watch the movies, even though I often fail at watching the majority of the movies. If I can get to halfway, I usually feel pretty good. Didn't even accomplish that this year because, just like we said before, snuck up on me as well. So I guess considering both of us are pretty, like usually, like even last year when we did Flix and a Whisk, like I had seen like 3 of the movies and you had seen all of the movies. I was like, okay, we could talk about this in depth.
We got some coverage. We get some
good material for Anthony. There's no point in wasting the time because Dominic doesn't want to talk about it and you and I are uninformed to talk about it. So I just figured we'd touch on it.
Part of it too, the other thing, like when it comes to Oscar season, like I love going to the movies to catch up. Like that's my favorite thing, right? Like there's local theaters will have the Best Picture nominees playing like at different times, and like you can get a pass at Cinemark and you can watch all of them, like things like that.
Or Movie Pass.
Or Movie Pass.
rest in peace.
Check on a Movie Pass still works. No, surprisingly, no. Rest in peace, but very obviously going to fail. Anyway. I usually like to go see those things, so we couldn't do that, right? The next movie that I plan on seeing in theaters is Fast 9, on account of by the time that movie drops, I will be fully in the clear, because 2 days ago, I got my second vaccine.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Spill the beans here, because something's been going on with you the last couple of days.
All right, so on Monday, I got my second shot. Super pumped. Got it. Cool. Come home. I'm fine most of the day. I'm about like 9, 10 o'clock, I start to feel just a little weird, a little sluggish, right? Fall asleep, wake up, middle of the night, don't feel very good, fall back asleep, wake up again, fall back asleep, like a couple times, not feeling very good. Wake up in the morning finally, and I feel horrible. Like it's real bad. And so it was like, call out of work, post up on the couch, and I just started putting movies on. Right?
Nice.
So I watched Endgame.
Okay.
Because I had recently watched Infinity War. Put Endgame on. That movie continues to get me emotional throughout its runtime, regardless of how many times I see it. It's just like, and then he said, "I love you 3000." That's what it's like when you watch that movie. So good. When Spider-Man comes in and his mask comes off and he's that doofy smile, it's so good. When he hugs Stark, oh, this is nice. It's just so good. The movie's so good. I love it. So I watched that. Like, cool. And then it was like, do you want to watch National Treasure? Because that popped up next. And I was like, yeah. So I put on National Treasure, and that's when I started to fall asleep and wake up. I was fading in and out of some weird dream states. Do you remember that scene in National Treasure with Ed Helms and the tiger?
I remember The Hangover.
That's right. So I remember a scene in National Treasure with Ed Helms and a tiger that I can only assume was an amalgamation of National Treasure 2 starring Ed Harris. Ed Helms being the same name as Harris. And then, like, I don't know, runes and, like, crazy temples and thinking of video games like, I don't know, Tomb Raider, where there's tigers. Ed Helms and tigers came together. So he's riding the tiger, obviously.
And of course, John Voight is in those two movies, and Angelina Jolie is his daughter, and Tomb Raider, and you got it. I'm
6 degrees of Ed Helms tiger separation.
By the way, it was perfect timing. As you were mentioning Ed Helms and tigers, Dexter creeped into the picture with his squeaky tiger.
Yeah, perfect.
And I was enjoying that little thing too.
So
it's been a while since I've seen National Treasure, but now that I'm thinking about it, that scene where Nick Cage fights Mike Tyson and grabs the Declaration from a zoo in which a tiger is guarding it, that sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, that's not far off from what was going on in this dream.
And he has to keep the Declaration away from Mike Tyson, and in comes Spider-Man.
Who's going to eat it?
Who's going to swoop and grab the Declaration and fly it away.
Right. So that was the one that's most vivid that I remember. But there were some other wacky things happening in and out of those dreams. And I was just like, you know, when you're just like, you're just sweating under a blanket, but you're cold. And and you're watching movies and random things are happening in your dreams. That's what the entire day was like.
Nice.
But yeah, the tiger thing, and it was one of those dreams that like can continue. So, like I would wake up and be like, what the fuck? And then I would fall back asleep, and there he would be again with the tiger and the Declaration of Independence. So anyway, that was what was going on yesterday. And then, you know, went to bed at night, woke up in the morning, completely fine.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing. It's very strange to have those symptoms and know that nothing's wrong.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird experience. I know there's been a lot of people who've gone through that. Like I said, my mom and my sister went through it. I know a few other people. One of the guys I work with got his second shot on Monday as well, and he called out sick yesterday because he felt like shit. And he came in today. He's like, I still feel a little bit weak, and somehow I managed to lose my voice despite the fact that I didn't get coughing and I did not get sick. So
right, yeah, it's very bizarre. There was one point where I had like it's this intense dizziness that I could what I would assume is something related to what vertigo feels like. Where I was like, I grabbed onto the counter and was like, "Here we go,"
while totally motionless.
Yeah, exactly. So it was fun. I'm better now, which is great. I just can't imagine actually having it, but jeez. Anyway, I'm back. 2 more weeks. I'm gonna be good, and then I'm gonna go see Fast 9.
After I got my shot, I felt nothing, and I just kind of wanted to feel like I was Kung Lao in Mortal Kombat, just going flawless victory.
Oh, and then I watched Mortal Kombat. That was all in the same day. So,
what were those fever dreams like?
No, by then, when I went to sleep that night, the fever had subsided. So,
okay.
Unfortunately, I mean, aside from the movie itself, there were no other fever dreams. I don't have any other news and nuggets. Do you have any more news?
No. Dominic, do you have any news or nuggets?
I've been thinking this whole time, and honestly, I'm struggling to think of anything. The only thing I'm excited to talk about is Bad Batch, which comes out on May the 4th. So, what, literally a week from now?
Oh,
I didn't realize that was coming out next week.
Yeah, it's May the 4th, and it's, some are calling it Clone Wars Season 8, and I would probably call myself among them. I mean, I'm super excited. I loved the animation style of Season 7 of Clone Wars, and I want to see more of the Bad Batch and the rise of the Empire and all that, so I'm super excited to see that. Just as I was super excited to see Clone Wars Season 7. I was probably the reason why the views went from, 1 to 100 in like the span of an hour, because I just kept rewatching the trailer over and over again. So I'm super excited to see this.
Nice. I'd like to watch some of that. Does anybody? Can I just watch that, or do I need to watch something else first?
I mean, it would help to see Clone Wars Season 7 of... yeah, like you should go watch Clone Wars Season 7, because that pretty much directly leads into this.
Or even, you don't even have to watch the whole thing. If you don't care about the quote-unquote spoilers of what was happening in the Clone Wars, just watch the first 3 episodes or 4 episodes of
4
Season 7, because that's the arc that the Bad Batch is in.
So. Maybe I'll just wait and work my way through all of Clone Wars before watching that.
What I'm saying is you could knock out in an hour just that arc, and then you'll at least have been introduced to the team.
Yeah,
and,
so
like
if I
really going to spoil anything.
If you're gonna watch all of Clone Wars, just make sure you skip all the Mace Windu Jar Jar tag team episodes.
Oh, so bad.
Something you never
Mace
wanted, and it's something that no fan ever requested, and it didn't pay off either.
It recontextualizes why he has so little patience for Anakin's bullshit, because all of his patience was expended on Jar Jar Binks. Somehow he's always the one sad with Jar Jar, and I'm like, who hates Mace so much that he keeps subjecting him to this in the writers' room?
Actually, Mace volunteers once or twice.
Terrible. All right, that's cool. Anything else that we know of that's dropping that day? I'm sure we can.
I'm sure they're gonna have some sort. They usually have a Star Wars celebration that day, don't they?
Yeah.
So I'm sure we'll get some sort of news about what's coming up next. Maybe an actual Obi-Wan trailer or something.
Yeah, maybe.
So Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. San Zemo.
Dominic has slightly changed his MO, and it's now thumbs down in an audio medium.
that was 2 thuckles down for those keeping score at home.
It's all right though. I agree, Dominic.
If I could make it a maximum of 5 thuckles, I would put those 5 thuckles down.
I would also agree. I know that I was probably going to be the one that was like, I don't know. But going into this, I had high hopes. I was like, I'm enjoying this. This is fine. Okay. All right. Okay, maybe not the decision I would make. This is good. This is fine. Final episode, and I went, okay. Oh, yep. You blew it. So that's a 5 or 6 out of 10.
honestly, when the episode finished, I was like, okay, so Anthony's been disagreeing with me all season, where it's liked it way more than me. It's like he literally can't. He literally can't at the end of this still be there.
No. It's they did not stick the landing.
No.
And to your to your credit and what we were talking about last week, it's like you can't. We're 1 episode out and you're introducing new things. It's too late to do that. You can't do that. We got to wrap things up now. And then, sure enough, they wrapped quote unquote things up and then left some other things open. It was not a great finale. That being said, I really dig the Falcon's new Captain America suit. I think that was really cool.
Yeah, that was a cool suit.
It's badass.
I like the suit.
I also liked his goggles and the things they do.
I don't know. It gave me a strong. I think I watched the pitch meeting of it for the Ryan Long pitch meetings. I love those videos.
Oh, we all watched.
Yeah. They're so good.
Yeah, he had the one line, and I think it went something along of. So you, what's it called? John Walker has to pay for all of the things he did wrong, right? And he's like, actually, no. He gets a new job immediately. He's like, oh, really?
Yeah. They hit the nail on the head a lot with that stuff. It's so good. Especially, they did a really great skit in there about the power broker that Al and I have been talking about since
the second that Sharon Carter showed up on screen.
But
you know what? No, no, of course.
No, but this is just a big reveal twist that I just wrote. Yeah.
Didn't we just talk about it? No.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I don't really understand what happened there.
I don't either, especially because so this was the show that was supposed to come out first before the world ended.
Which is why I'm guessing is probably really why they changed it around. They probably didn't test well.
Okay, but then in all of that time...
No way.
In all of that time, you fix it, right?
Well, no, that depends, right? It depends on how poorly it tested. Because you can just shuffle it so that it's not the next thing on people's mind and that you have something else. Like, they had all of the following... Like, everybody that watched WandaVision seemed to be into the next thing, then watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If this is just one miss, they'll be like, all right, Loki's coming out in a few weeks. I'll give that a go.
Is that why they condensed it down where it's like 1 week off Captain and Winter Soldier, 1 or 2 weeks off, whatever it is, Loki is just like, it's like tearing off the Band-Aid, or like the thing where you like list a bunch of things that are good and then you slip the one bad thing in the middle and hope the person doesn't notice or like doesn't think it's as serious as it is.
Yeah.
Amongst all the other good things you've listed.
I don't know. I guess so. That's what it seems like. But,
so what did you do this weekend?
Just...
It's like your parents are like, what did you do this weekend while we were out of town? Oh, I walked the dog, I cleaned the car, I vacuumed, I mowed the lawn, I broke the lamp, I paid the bills. So what was that part in the middle? I paid the bills. No, before I walked the dog.
Oh man, yeah. It's weird because it seems like it had all of the makings of something that could have been bigger and had more story. Like
this show must have had tremendous storyboards.
Enormous. But like, and the spectacles were awesome. Like it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of hints at different characters that would become something, which will either happen in a movie later or because is there going to be another season? It's not known if there's going to be another season of this.
Also, I got to be honest, devs pulled off the title switch
much better. Yeah, they didn't change anything. And
far more well earned as well.
Yeah, Devs is just like, you're just saying it wrong. That's a you.
No, but it felt like earned, and it was a really cool twist. Whereas we always saw this one coming, and it also, honestly, I think I would have given it half a point more credit if it had ended with Captain America and the White Wolf, because both of them left their old names behind and became new people. But you kind of forgot about Bucky there at the end and just go fuck yourself.
Yeah. That's the thing that's when we were doing the chemistry stuff between Bucky and Sam, that was good. I was enjoying that.
Sure.
I was enjoying their adventure back and forth. I was enjoying them getting on the same side. I was enjoying them teaming up, becoming more like brothers, and that stuff was great. And they all that finished up in the second to last episode. They didn't really go back to it all in this one, and I was like, but it's the finale. Damn.
They fixed everything except for the damn water pump.
In the beginning, I felt like in the beginning it was good. Sam's struggling with the mantle of Captain America. Bucky's trying to get over his PTSD and make amends. And then by the end of it, it's all Sam, no Bucky. And Bucky became like Jon Snow in season 8 of Game of Thrones, where he's just like, hey, why did you put down the shield? And Jon Snow's like, she's my queen. Because that seemed to be the only dialogue. It seemed to be the only dialogue they could give Bucky was, hey, why did you put that shield down? And, I was like, hey, did Dumb and Dumber sneak their way onto this directing?
Nice.
I was pretty disappointed with that. I mean, their banter was fine, but they wasted Bucky in a show that was ostensibly half him.
Action sequences, they did a great job, I thought, especially in the first and last episode. They did a little bit extra payoff, it seemed, with some of the effects, some of the crazy helicopter stuff that they were doing. I enjoyed that. Scanning the people that are in the helicopter with what's the Red Wing? Is that what his name is?
Yes.
That was really cool. And I look in the background, obviously it's very, very staged, and the idea of okay, of course there's a helicopter pilot on there, right? But the way that you go about that, I thought was kind of fun.
Yeah, that was one of the ones where the whole trademarked barely an inconvenience actually it was like that scene was tailor made for that in the pitch meeting. As soon as it came to, I was like, no, I knew this was coming.
And honestly, totally worth it when he flew directly through the window and took the pilot out. I was like, don't even care. That was cool.
I gotta say though, the way that was all shot at that point was a little bit messy. I was a little confused as to what he was trying to accomplish for about 2/3 of that chase sequence.
Oh, really?
Because there was 2 helicopters, but they were never actually chasing each other, I think. Is that what was going on? Wasn't there 2 helicopters in that?
No.
Or did I totally misunderstand that because of the editing? Just
the one. I think it was an editing issue.
It's just the one.
The editing of that. Yeah, okay. It's just the one helicopter. I was totally confused during all of that, and then he does a thing scan for the pilot or whatever, and it's like, okay, great. I see where we're going with this, and sure. Thrilling when he launches through the canopy, absolutely. It was just what the fuck is going on? Mm-hmm. I just felt the stuff on the ground, the Sharon and Bucky and John stuff was more grounded, literally and metaphorically.
There was also the part from the pitch meeting where he also goes talking about the helicopter. Oh, so it's probably pretty difficult to fly that helicopter without a pilot. Actually, no, it's super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, really?
Is it the first instance of Chekhov's acrobatics?
Why do you say that?
So in the 4th episode, I believe it was the 4th episode, before he opens the box with the suit that we don't get to see until the next episode, or 5th episode, I think that was.
Yes,
which was
that was
bullshit. They should have shown it to us, I feel like. Because they rush the intro of the suit in the it's like, oh, you're wearing it. Oh, geez. Okay, cool.
Oh, you're wearing it and exploding through a window. Okay.
Right. But he's doing all sorts of ridiculous running and then jumping and flipping for no reason. Like his own personal training sequence. And then he's just going to do that so that he doesn't have to hit Morgenthau. Right? That came back. It's like, we're going to do this again.
Your wings and your jets make your fighting, like your gymnastics in the fight scenes, totally unnecessary. So where are we going to find a way to shoehorn that in? Oh, yeah, when you decide you're no longer going to fight. You're just going to
right. That's right. And then she dies.
Was it defensive parkour?
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. I mean, granted, the flips were cool.
Oh, yeah.
It was awesome. The choreography was pretty great.
Also, you know what? I didn't know until I heard an interview with Georges St. Pierre that his character's name was Batroc the Leaper.
Yeah.
I remember when they said the first name, I was like, oh yeah, that name actually sounds kind of familiar. Didn't realize that he was specifically known as the Leaper.
Did you hear about one of the crazy fan theories of where those supplies are coming from, like that mercury gas and those green glowing tools that were being used?
I had not. Also, I have to imagine that was specifically an Easter egg, because what a weird bit of exposition when she
very strange.
Like, I don't give a shit. You could just say you neutralize the fucker. I don't need to know what specific chemicals you use to do so.
Yeah,
totally
it wasn't so much the chemicals as much as it was the aesthetic, but a theory. I can't. I mean, maybe, but there's not enough evidence. I don't feel like for this to actually be credible. It could be if they want to go that way in the future. Is that it's from Oscorp?
Ah, interesting.
Which could be interesting, but I would like to get those universes a little bit more tightly wound up together. But that could be cool. Yeah, overall, it was like, oh, this is fun. This is interesting. Okay, where's this going? Where's it?
I honestly just wanted some payoff to.
Where's it going? And then it was over.
I just wanted some payoff to Selena Meyer showing up, and you didn't even get that.
No, but we did get Zemo's butler.
Which you only recognize him as the butler because he's wearing the fucking butler gloves.
Right. And then this scene we have butler gloves, and he's going to blow up the remaining members.
And then you just see like the Zemo smiling on the raft. Yeah. It's like, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, that was pretty silly. But yeah. Overall, it's kind of it definitely tapered off. Did not have a big enough payoff. The thing is, you're leading into Sam becoming captain the whole time, right? You're like, this is where it's going to go. So that's not the payoff, right? If you're telling us basically with everything that's going on that by the end of this he's going to come to terms with it and he's going to have to take up the mantle because no one else really deserves it, and he does, and he can do the right thing with it. You're telling us what's going to happen. So him actually coming out with the suit on is not the payoff. Like that's
how he gets there.
It's just, yeah. So the journey should be interesting, the journey was mildly interesting. It was going in a good direction, and then you were right in calling when Zemo exited. It got less interesting.
Yeah.
And then there's no other real aha or like awesome moment. Maybe the power broker thing was supposed to be that, but it wasn't. There was nothing special. Otherwise,
it reminded me of. I remember how everyone loved the first Dead Space, and like how that game was known as like a really fun game, really well written, really great horror vibes. Like the way it had organic horror that would scare the player and all that without just jump scares. And then I remember I used to really enjoy Zero Punctuation, the video series on The Escapist. I still enjoyed it. I just haven't watched any videos lately because I haven't had the time. And he talked about Dead Space 2, and he said, this game is no longer fun and exciting and horrifying because every time a scary thing is going to happen, you start hearing the fucking horror music before the thing happens. And you can't do that with every big reveal in the show where, okay, your big reveal is that Sharon Carter is going to become the power broker. And everything you do is just screaming, she's going to be the power broker, she's going to be the power broker, she's going to be the big reveal, big reveal.
She's got a belt with diamond studs that says power broker. I'm picturing them leaving and like walking out, and you see like her room in the apartment and like a neon sign flickering on and off in the background that just says power broker on it. No, it's actually a whiteboard that says what to call self, and it's a word cloud, and circled is power broker.
Which just made me think of Horrible Bosses 2 when they write kidnapping.
Yeah.
It's in permanent dry erase. They can't erase the board.
It makes me think of Jared Leto's Joker having the word damage tattooed on his body, just to help us understand.
That was a bit more meta, right? Because that was the entire universe that he was
describing.
I gotta say, my biggest complaint if I could throw one last thing in with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, my biggest complaint was I just couldn't get on board with the villains. In the show, that's where they're actually, outside of Loki and Thanos, when do they ever spend time developing any of the villains? Like, nobody cares. This is a show, and that's usually when you can spend more time on it. And it was awesome, the spending a season talking, all right, what happened after the blip was reversed, and that's a very interesting concept, but oh my god, did I just not care about the main villain? And oh my god, did I just not agree with what they were doing? And you were not selling me at all, because you're supposed to make it seem important or indicative of the character of Sam, that he refuses to kill her or whatever. And it's like, okay, if he doesn't want to do that, he wants to lock her up or whatever. It's like, okay, I understand. It's just I did not have any sympathy for Carly. And then his speech in the last episode to the center, he's like, we need to stop calling this lady a terrorist. I'm like, no. Like, she's literally the very dictionary definition of a terrorist. And I'm like, and you're not doing a great job at selling the gray area of her character. I thought they handled the Flag Smashers in a horrible way, and I had no interest in her or their group or their motives or their anything really.
It definitely was a bit bland. I liked I think midway through the series when Sam actually speaks directly with Carly and they're having their little chat. That was the only chance. Great moment.
Yeah, it was, and that was a chance where it could have become interesting, and they don't follow through on it.
Right. Like, it's almost at that point where like it should start to like either something could happen where like she almost starts to distance herself from it, but the movements become too great that it moves on to
she gets swept up
out of her control, right? Like that could be that's a story that's written
and then dies in the service of trying to stop what she started. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
she doesn't do that.
But in fact, all of her followers are like, I don't really know if
they're like, whoa, this is bad. Yeah. We shouldn't do this.
Remember all those things we talked about doing? We're like extremely not doing that.
It's like, they're like at that when she's like, oh, we're gonna kidnap them, and if it doesn't work, we're just gonna kill them all. One world, one people. They're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. She's like Joker in The Dark Knight. I want them to say it. And they're like,
oh man. But I really liked the development of Zemo. I liked this whole. We talked about this a little bit earlier on in the season, but like the whole idea, like he wanted, like him destroying the vials when he gets in front of them. That's a great moment for that character, right? Like he's like he's against this. Like
because you totally expect him to like either take them all for himself or destroy them all and use one himself and whatever. And that ends up becoming Walker, right? Like he's the one who's like immediately like, I need it. Like I need the vial. And Zemo, like, as crazy as he is, as utterly ruthless and probably bad as he is, he stuck to his guns of like, no matter what you think of me, this is bad for everyone, and I'm going to do it whether you like it or not. And it was actually compelling.
Like that's that thing that you could do though, where like there's a bit of what the villain is doing that you can agree with that makes them a little bit more sympathetic or makes you more compelled to hear what else they have to say. The other compelling thing about a villain is one with a code of some sort, whether or not you agree with it. The idea of like the villain is telling you who he is and is acting that way, and is not just like not for shock value changing his motives or anything. Like no, like this is who the villain is, and when he does something, it's not surprising that he does that thing. If you are surprised, you weren't really paying attention. Like he's written very well. He doesn't. Maybe he like Al, you've said this before. Like the best villains don't they don't know they're the villain.
They don't think they're the villain.
He doesn't see himself that way.
The best villains think they're the protagonist. They think they're the one. They don't think they're being the villain. They're not doing it purely for gain and all that.
Right.
I see Zemo kind of like a Punisher character, honestly, in that he goes too far, but he actually has some noble or understandable things. I don't know what Zemo is like in the comics, but at least how they've portrayed him in the MCU, I give him like a even more complex character than a Punisher type. That's just my opinion.
I wouldn't necessarily go so far as to say noble, but I think you're right. Like where he has goals that you can sympathize with for sure. Like where he is thinking of the greater good there. Now, twisting it to his own ends, probably, but
the Punisher does that too. But I get it.
Until that character goes too far, and you're like, oh no. And right,
you start to feel dirty. You start to feel dirty.
like Thanos, right? When he starts off, and you're like, God, this movie theater is crowded. And then by Endgame, you're like, no, not the best way to do this.
Jesus.
You're stuck in traffic on a bridge. It's like, where's Thanos right now? I could use some Infinity
Exactly. Well, the cars would probably still be there, which would be
I guess that's true.
Oh, those pesky cars.
Do we? Does anybody have any other thoughts, closing or otherwise?
I'm curious to see what Loki's all about soon.
Me too.
Whatever that's going to be.
June-ish.
Okay.
Right?
Wow.
June 11th? June 6th?
Wow.
So, are you guys ready for fun and games, which I definitely totally prepared for the whole week and didn't think of 90 minutes before we started?
I'm ready.
By the way, thanks for that, Mike. Hey, Mike. He said he really enjoyed the 20 questions game.
Oh, good.
I was texting with him like an hour and a half before we started, and he mentioned that, and I was like, oh, fuck, I totally forgot it's my turn to come up with a movie. So I have a movie. So Dominic, we're going to play 20 questions. It's a movie. I'm not going to tell you anything about this movie. Every question that you guys have to ask me is in the form of a question that I can answer with a yes or no response. I guess we'll just alternate. Do you guys want to duke it out for who goes first, or do you care?
Dominic, you can go first.
Thank you, good sir. All right, Al. Is it a comedy movie?
No.
Did this movie come out after or during the year 2000?
Yes, it is. It is from 2000 on.
Okay.
Is it an action movie?
Yes.
Is it part of a franchise?
No.
Is it based on a true story?
No.
Is it a... Does it have any actors that you would consider A-listers in it?
Good question.
Yes.
Is the main leading cast member a man?
Yeah. Sorry, don't read into it, because I would say there was... I'm giving you a hint here. I would say there was two leads, and one of them is a man. So, yes.
Do the actors, and when I say actors in the context of these things, I include actors and actresses as the single actors, are they known to appear in multiple films together?
Oh, I don't believe so. Now, you're talking about any of the main cast, or like kind of what you would say specifically is the quote unquote like leads of?
I guess the main cast. The main cast.
Give me 1 second to do a quick.
Is anyone keeping count?
There's nothing.
Questions.
I am. That was your 8th question.
All right.
With a very quick scroll, there is nothing that jumps out to me that they have both been in other than this movie.
Okay.
All right. My question is, did Michael Bay direct this film?
He did, actually.
I'm onto it. I think I know what it is.
Really? All right. So there's the other bit of this, Dominic, is that if you guess the wrong thing, you lose. So you have to really narrow it down.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
So that was question 9. So I'll guess at question 19.
All right. That's not part of a. It's not
you're probably going to be able to figure it out before 19. I'm going to guess at this point. Has he directed 19 movies?
How can I phrase this? Does this movie revolve around an Armageddon of some sort?
It does not.
Does this movie?
I feel like that's cheating, but Does
this movie revolve around a landmass that only has water around it?
You're such an asshole, both of you. Yeah, it does, I guess. Wait, Anthony, did you seriously not get it yet?
Is it the island?
I'm trying to think of something funny to ask next.
Okay, wait, hang on a second, Dominic. How the fuck?
You said male and female lead action movie post 2000, and I don't know why, but I had just recently watched The Island. I was like, So I was like, hey.
Action movie. You guys did not ask anything specifically enough.
That's so ridiculous. I will say.
Do you know how many action movies from 2000 on that star a male and female co-stars?
Okay,
it's only 80% of all movies that were made.
They also. It's not a comic book movie. It's not based on a true story. They aren't.
You didn't say it wasn't. You didn't ask anything about IP. You just said
yes,
it was part of a franchise.
No, I think one of us asked, is it based on a comic property?
No, you said it's based on a true story.
I asked if it was part of a franchise.
Oh, well, anyways, I figured though most comic movies post 2000 were part of a franchise, so then I just kind of
I'm just saying, like, you guys did not ask a single thing that was specific
amazing.
other than franchise.
I will say that I could say I'm pretty confident that if Dominic was not here, I was not getting this movie.
Okay. All
right.
I figured you would probably get it like towards the end. That was totally out of left field to the point where I was actually worried. Did like something pop up on like the sharing of screen on accident and like Dominic saw it? Because I had the IMDb open so that I could quickly like access any information. Because like remember last week when we were I asked you stuff about awards wins. I asked you stuff about like the director and stuff like that.
What made this movie come up to you? Like, why did you think?
I was just trying to come up with a movie that I know that I've definitely seen and that I know that we have discussed whether or not you've seen it.
All right, I'm just saying, since I got it so quickly, I think I deserve to do the 20-question movie on the next one.
Okay.
That I'm in, at least I don't know when I'll be in the next one.
When I was saying, whenever you return.
Yeah, in 10 more years, sure.
Yeah.
But
I'm honestly, like, I'm trying to check and see if there's, like, a mirror behind me.
Like,
that was such a weirdly
on the winning
specific...
team, I'm skeptical.
What a weirdly specific question to ask, because...
I mean,
whatever. I mean, like, good job. I don't understand.
When he said that, in my head, I was like, "Oh, there's too many directors to do this question with." And when you said yes, I was like, "What the fuck?"
That's why I was like, "How?"
All I can see right now of you though is your right shoulder and pectorals. So like, I don't think there's any mirror behind you that is.
No, I know. I know there's no mirror here, but like
your headphones are wildly reflective.
Yeah.
I mean,
Al, this is kind of like, what's it called? Family Guy with a Z, 4 Q, another Q, a third Q, and the Batman symbol. All right, you're not gonna have any help right now. Is it Alex Karras and Webster?
Alex Karras and Webster? No, actually, it reminded me even more of the one where he was accidentally part of the survey group, and he was able to answer the one very specific question: is it Picard's flute that he played first in this thing and then the other thing? And they're like, how the fuck did you get that right? Yeah. I was like, I even thought about it since I knew you were at that point. I knew you were coming on. I was like, okay, what is a movie that like? I mean, I haven't discussed this movie with Dominic at any point in recent times. I guess it was just poor form that I didn't know somehow psychically that you had seen it recently, because it's been a while since I watched it.
Wow, that's pretty funny. All right, good game. Thanks, Dominic.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm counting that as a win.
Oh, you guys won. You did.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I know for sure I would not have won if he wasn't here.
I don't know. I mean, like, it wouldn't be that hard to get. All you have to do is get one clue. Like, for instance, Michael Bay. Sure. If you got an actor in it, you have a chance. If you get the director, you have a really good chance.
Well, no. I mean, if it's Clancy Brown, he has like 300 titles to his name.
Yeah, but Clancy Brown's not in this one. Now, if you had asked me, does Sean Bean die in this movie, you still wouldn't have had a chance.
Yeah,
because he dies in every movie.
Yeah,
true. True. All right, let us get into our flick of the week. Mortal Kombat released in 2021, rated R, with an hour and 50-minute runtime. Your IMDb synopsis: MMA fighter Cole Young seeks out Earth's greatest champion in order to stand against the enemies of Outworld in a high-stakes battle for the universe. I'll call bullshit. And we'll get into that shortly. Al, give me your tweet-length review.
Yeah, hang on. No. Does Cole Young seek out anyone?
No. No.
Are they known as Earth's greatest champions?
No. Do they fight in a tournament?
Well, no, you know what? They didn't say tournament in this one. They said high-stakes battle. So, you know what? Fair enough. That's fair.
They mentioned the tournament.
Against the enemies of Outworld, that part's fair. They mentioned the tournament. But no, like it wasn't in the description, so, you know.
Okay.
But
okay.
Cole Young does not do shit. He does not seek out shit. He is dragged around by the seat of his pants.
Kicking and screaming.
Kicking and screaming by other, better, and or more competent people.
That's right. Until he gets his suit of armor. I'm not entirely sure what happened there.
I was a little confused by that as well. Not to say it wasn't cool and all, but
it was cool. I was like, I was... Are you where's this character going? Oh, you're an ancestor. Oh, do you become a Scorpion? No, no, just something else entirely. That's fine.
Or
something
somewhat like Scorpion, even.
Yeah, but even that unclear.
Yeah,
anyway.
Cole Young he didn't even go to Wakanda, and you got to get a fucking Black Panther suit because it was just kicking in all energy. I mean, come on.
That was yeah.
It's the stupidest Arcana ever.
tweet length.
Not as fun or campy, but more competent than the original. Solid action flick that plays more like an elevator pitch to a Mortal Kombat featuring the actual tournament. 5.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. Dominic?
Gruesome and gory. Only character worth a damn, Kano. Excited for a sequel. Cole Young should never have been introduced. 5 out of 10.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay, cool. I said Mortal Kombat makes some bold choices, from trying to make you care about Kung Lao to completely omitting the tournament. While it's definitely not a hit, I wouldn't say it's a miss either. 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I think we're pretty consistent in our grades.
Trying to make you care about Kung Lao. That's great.
I mean,
success.
Like I gotta say, they kind of succeeded.
Yeah, they did. I was like, look at this guy throwing his hat, and then he did some pretty cool things with that hat, and I was like, all right. Yeah. And then when he did the little buzzsaw thing, I was like, oh, okay, I care. Yeah, and they were like, no, we're done with him now.
If he said nothing, nothing other than flawless victory, that's still more enjoyable than the line delivery of Cole Young. So
I was a little confused. I don't even remember Kung Lao as like a character, which isn't to say that he hasn't been one, because I'm certainly not an expert on Mortal Kombat. I remember playing it a lot, like when I was a kid, specifically at your house.
Yeah.
But like, I wouldn't say that I have a tremendous level of memory, and a lot of my memories come more from the fact that I played the games a lot and also watched the movie in that same time period, the original movie.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I remember Liu Kang, and I remember Sonya Blade, and I remember Kano, and Shang Tsung, and Raiden, and Goro, like, all that stuff, Johnny Cage, all those fun things. But I even remember something else, like Smoke, and Rain, I guess Melina, and Katana, and all that
Ermac.
See, I've been seeing a lot of references to this past week. I actually don't remember that name.
Oh, no.
Now, maybe if I saw him on screen, Scorpion, obviously. Sub-Zero is an iconic character in his own right. Reptile. There was that one who was the Centaur dude, whose name I'm forgetting. Like,
Centaur. What the heck? Mataro. Nice. Good pull.
How do you forget that when that dude's fatality was to tear your fucking head off your skull in one swift move? Like,
yeah. Oh man, Mortal Kombat was great. We used to play. Yes. I think the one that you're probably referring to is Mortal Kombat Trilogy on the N64, which had a lot.
It was definitely on the N64. I don't remember.
Yeah, I still have it. I still have my N64 in all of its games.
Nice.
It's pretty fantastic.
Does it still work?
Mortal Kombat Trilogy was. Yeah, it does.
Let's fire up some Mortal Kombat.
I do have a TV that it works on right here too, on the floor.
Oh wow!
I need to set it up. I'm not sure if you guys have tried to play an old console on a new TV. It does not work. It looks terrible.
I bet.
But yeah. Oh man, so much fun with Mortal Kombat. I used to love. I had this giant book of codes for.
Yeah, I remember.
Right, the N64 code book that had all the fatalities in it. Oh man, I think I bought that at a ShopRite.
Nice. I was gonna say, I remember specifically playing, and you would win, and then everyone would have to wait because you'd have to look up. Okay, what's the coolest fatality I could think of? And then do it. Like, it would have been so much cooler if any of us knew them and memorized any of them off the top of our head. But, like, it's something both incredibly climactic and yet also somehow anticlimactic about winning a match, taking 5 minutes to figure out which one you want to do, trying 4 times. Oh, wait, I didn't hit it right and I accidentally just kicked you and that ended the match.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I did it and I tore your fucking skull off.
Or you wait too long and the guy just falls over because you're like crouching and jumping and moving backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards, and then the character just falls over. Oh man, good times. There was always there was a handful that I was never able to figure out how to do, like the brutalities where you do a ridiculously long combo to the point where like it builds and builds and builds and the body explodes.
I remember us succeeding a couple of times, but I remember a lot of failures on those.
There were those animalities, those babalities.
The babalities, yes.
Good stuff. But yeah, the fatalities are fun. My personal favorites were the pit fatalities, the ones that were based on the level you were in. Yes. And if you did your pit move, you could do a cool thing like throw somebody into the acid or onto the spikes or off the bridge. Those were always my favorite.
Yeah, it was cool.
Can I give a quick shout out to Hiroyuki Sanada, the guy who played Scorpion? Because that man I looked up is like 60 or 61 years old, and he moves like a 30-year-old guy.
Good for him, Jesus Christ.
He is Japanese. He's Japanese Jackie Chan in terms of his ability to do his own stunts at his age, and on par as an actor as well. Because I mean, he was like the asshole samurai to Tom Cruise and Last Samurai, which is a great movie. He's been in other stuff that I've seen him. Yeah, he's been in other stuff that I've seen him in. I just can't remember what, and that's going to bother me. But I mean, I loved watching him, and he was badass.
I would have guessed he was at least 10 years younger than he is. So
in the opening of the movie, we get some kind of some history lessons about who will become Scorpion and who already is Sub-Zero, right? And these two characters that one is trying to wipe out the other one's bloodline. Perfectly reasonable thing to be trying to do, I guess.
Totally.
And what happens here? This is of all of the ridiculous things that happen in those sequences. The one thing that was throwing me for a loop was the subtitles and how it kept switching between in Chinese and in Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, who's talking to who? And why is the language switching so much? Until I found out in that like final sequence between the two of them that Scorpion's character says something along the lines of, may not understand what you're saying, but blah, blah, blah. I was like, but why? Because at some point, the Sub-Zero character was speaking Japanese.
He knew how to say the one phrase to ask the wife.
That was, okay, just that. Got it.
That's the only thing that Sub-Zero says in Japanese. So
okay, I was very confused by this whole... I was almost as confused about that scene as I was about our protagonist's family dynamic.
Yeah, I know.
Dominic, quick question.
We're talking
Cole Young. Who's the girl? Who are the two girls that he's with? Who are they?
His wife and
in
daughter.
relation to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you think that the whole way through the movie, or just in the last 3/4 when they finally said that it was his daughter? Because I was certain it was.
Yeah, I thought
until then.
No. I thought it was. I thought it was stepdaughter and girlfriend at first. I could see that, like, because they didn't seem. It's kind of strange to have a father who brings his like teenage daughter to like watch him get his ass kicked at MMA fights and shit. But whatever.
Yeah, and maybe he looks good, but if that's not the case, that like, did he have her when he was 5?
Yeah, that too. I was gonna say like, he's particularly young for the age. I could have seen sister too and girlfriend. Like maybe he raised her on his own and whatever, and then like he meets this girl, and again, that's another failing of this movie. And again, I like the movie. I want to see a sequel. I understand what they did to kind of build to another one, but oh my god, this is the protagonist, and I didn't care about him at all. He was the least interesting part of this movie.
Do we know how old the daughter was? Because I didn't think that part of the age was... It just didn't seem like a father-daughter relationship.
No, it definitely felt like a
Agreed.
sibling relationship.
Yeah, it felt like a much older brother, younger sister relationship. The age was doable to like that she could be his daughter. Like that wasn't it. It just like that didn't seem like the nature of the relationship. I guess I figured it out slightly earlier than you guys. As soon as she came back and like the three of them went out for like ice cream or whatever, I was like, oh, okay, it's his daughter. I didn't realize that. Like, so it was like before the Sub-Zero attack or whatever. But I was confused too. Like, I was like, wait, what? Did I? Huh, okay, whatever.
What's going on here?
Like, ultimately, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I was a little confused at first too. But yeah, whatever. Sorry, I forgot what we were. Other than that, where we were at with jumping to something else.
No, we're good. Transition to whatever. I will say that while I don't think he was well written, I liked the idea of introducing a new character non-game related.
Yeah, I don't care about
that was cool.
Part of it, like in a vacuum, I think what they chose to do specifically was largely a problem, and I don't even think it was the actor's fault, really. I think
no, I don't think so either.
Character.
It's definitely the writing.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't object. Like whatever, like that's the point of doing something new, of rebooting the thing, is you can do whatever you want, and you have the whole host of characters that you can choose to deploy however and whenever that you wish. I mean, think about the original. I don't remember the lore of the games because I never was into it that much because I didn't own the games or anything. But if I recall, wasn't Scorpion a bad guy in the original movie? Johnny Cage fights Scorpion.
Yeah.
And in this, he's more allied with the good, quote unquote, side, or at least the human side of it all. You know, he doesn't start as an outworld like fighter. He starts as a human fighter and goes to hell, I guess, and then came back somehow. I guess we never really knew much about hell.
Unclear.
Kombat, did we?
But
on the side of the
Nether
humans,
realm, Nether, something like
that. Yeah, the Nether region's got it.
Yeah.
So I was like, but you can do
that's where Johnny Cage kicked Goro in the first movie.
Yeah, exactly.
In the Nether realm.
That's the Shadow King, right? Nice. But like that's the whole point, right? Is you can choose to deploy these characters in whatever way you want, right? Kano, I don't think was human in the original movie. He was again an outworld, whatever. Now he is human. You think he's going to be on the side of the human, and spoiler alert, he betrays them.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, there was no shot that guy wasn't about to betray everybody.
Well, I was confused all along because I'm like, isn't Kano like in no matter what way, shape, or form you choose to deploy him? Hasn't he always been a bad guy?
Yeah.
There we go. There's the heel turn.
But I do think you can easily bring this movie from a 5 or a 6 to like a 7 or an 8 if everybody else is having even half as much fun as Kano is having making this
I thought
movie.
you were saying you could bring it to a 7 or 8 if everyone was Kano.
That too. I would watch
just
that
lasers
movie.
everywhere.
Oh, when he figures out his laser eye and he's so pumped about it, and he's just like ragging on Liu Kang's fire. He's like, this is like, it's so much better than fire. That was really silly. He was funny. He did a good job of playing that straight up asshole.
He was definitely the only character who obviously was trying to have fun at every scene he was in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, because I think they have a lot of talented actors in this movie. Chin Han, who played Shang Tsung, Hiroyuki Sanada, who played Scorpion. I don't know Joe Taslim, but I have heard he has a great reputation for him. I think it's Tadanobu Asano. I think that's the name of the guy who plays Raiden. All these guys are great actors, and like they're sidelined or just generic good guy or generic bad guy, and like it's wasted, you know. And actually, segue back to I was looking on IMDb of what else Hiroyuki Sanada was in. Rush Hour 3. He's the bad guy in that, who is like the long lost like stepbrother of Jackie Chan's character.
I didn't realize that's what that was.
He was in Wolverine. He was I don't even know what he was in that movie. Kind of a bad guy, not really. But he fights the Wolverine with, a katana, and that was a great scene. And then also
I think you're confusing a bad guy with a bad movie.
Yeah. Also, Katana was not in this movie. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And then also, last but not least, he was Akihiko in Endgame, i.e. guy who gets brutally murdered by Jeremy Renner when he's going rampaging through Japan. So, yeah.
We were just talking about
I watched
him.
2 movies with this guy in the same day.
Also, what are the odds? Me and Anthony were just talking about Jeremy Renner brutally murdering his way across Southeast Asia earlier today.
That's right. All right, Dominic, what's darker? The fact that Jeremy Renner's character was brutally murdering people across the world, really, or that for 5 years he was still paying his family's cell phone plan after his family was snapped out of existence.
No, because think about it, Dominic, right? Because we were talking about that earlier. Like, so we're to expect that he's been paying the group rate plan for 5 years for his family members who've died, because they are immediately able to call him on the cell phone.
Maybe they got an Avengers discount. I didn't think about that.
Wow.
Even with the discount,
Even
he can play for one line.
Yeah, can you give me an entire spin-off Marvel series, like for like 6 episodes, that just deals with the average everyday struggles of people going to the DMV, rent, getting utilities set up, and post-split?
I feel like that's kind of how the Falcon and the Winter Soldier started off, when he's going to the bank for a loan. Like,
Do you realize how utterly depressing that show that you're pitching would be? Like, don't get me wrong. I agree that it would be interesting to see how that would all unfold. That would be so dark.
That's 6 episodes of the group therapy meeting from Endgame.
I feel like after you're done watching that series, you have to go reenact the scene from Arrested Development where Tobias is crying in the shower and biting the bar of soap.
Yeah, nice. All right, so back to Mortal Kombat. Everybody seems to have a side, a Scorpion or a Sub-Zero fan. Where do you guys land? Did you always have a favorite?
I always liked Sub-Zero a lot because everyone liked Sub-Zero a lot. I was able to recognize, though, that I was not nearly good enough to get the best out of him. I don't think he was typically the character I would gravitate to. I think I would typically let other people do it. I remember messing around with Smoke some. I remember enjoying playing as Johnny Cage. I remember enjoying Liu Kang. I really enjoyed Mitaro for some reason. I think just he was so dramatically different from all the other characters.
Yeah.
That too.
Dominic, did you have a favorite Mortal Kombat character?
I used to remember, I played that one with you guys. I don't really remember playing it well because I was much younger than you guys. But I mean, I always liked Johnny Cage and Liu Kang. But I gotta say, between the two of them, I thought Sub-Zero looked cooler. But in the Mortal Kombat, the 1995 one, I thought that Johnny Cage and Scorpion's fight was infinitely better than the Sub-Zero versus Liu Kang fight. And also in this one, both were cool, but I gotta say, I just like him throwing his chain thing, and also him just melting Sub-Zero with his fire breath. So I gotta say, Scorpion actually, I think, is the cooler one. I
think in this movie they did it. In this movie, I was all for Scorpion. Growing up, I was always a Sub-Zero fan.
Yeah,
it was my favorite. Actually, it's funny that you guys. I vividly remember Dominic playing Liu Kang and Al, you playing Smoke. That's just really funny that you guys definitely. I wasn't wrong then in those memories. I was a big fan of playing Sub-Zero and also Noob Saibot. I don't know how you say it, but
it's definitely Noob Saibot.
I like that one. The robot guys, it's like Sector and Side.
Yeah, wasn't Sector very similar to Smoke?
Well, there was the robot Smoke, and then there was the ninja Smoke.
Yes, that's right.
So, but oh man, so many characters to play as. It was interesting. They did like this whole Scorpion Sub-Zero backstory. It almost seemed like that could have been a movie in itself that they explored.
Yes,
and got kind of
if you were going to do a quote unquote like prequel. That actually probably would have been better. Like if we're going to do a movie that's not leading up to an actual Mortal Kombat, that it's a Mortal Kombat will be coming because of this, right? That's probably the way to do it, is just like whatever backstory led to him coming and murdering the shit out of his family. That is the story to tell.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that my favorite part, and I'm probably not the only one, of the entire movie was the opening sequence where he's with his family, he comes in and kills his family, and then they fight, because I thought that we got actually a little bit of good acting there. The expressions, their verbalizations and expressions was great. It was a well choreographed fight. I think if more of the movie was like that, I just think the movie was so fast paced and going all over the places, it didn't give it a chance to breathe. Because two of the scenes I liked the most was when they're sitting down to eat dinner, a slightly slower scene, and that. I'm not saying I didn't like anything else. It's just I thought that this movie needed to be
I'm with
a
you.
little bit longer, a little bit take a breath to give me a
like
chance
more
to actually
nuanced.
like these characters. Yeah. And like I said, I thought the only part where there was like good dialogue, good acting, and all that, aside from Kano, was that opening sequence between Sub-Zero and Scorpion.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that you mentioned up the opening sequences, right? Like everything up to the title card of the movie felt like a completely different movie. Like shot by somebody else, written by somebody else. Like that was like that in itself was something really special, and
Agreed.
it definitely got me excited when we hit the title card. I was like, oh man, like this might be really good, and then it just tanks from that point on, like as far as like storytelling goes. But
it sets the tone also from like the perspective of how they thought out like the characters, because this version of Sub-Zero is way more menacing and powerful than he was in the original.
Yeah,
it's like this. Like I saw someone describe him, and I was like, you know what, that clicks for me perfectly. He is basically Ice Terminator.
Yeah, he's terrifying.
Which is
I like that dread that they did with him coming into like on screen, like the snow, and then the snow becoming something terrifying, and then that was
that's
really
what I'm
cool.
saying. He was propulsive of the storyline, like him just as like a force of nature, literally and metaphorically.
Yeah,
this is. I don't think Sub-Zero was really that cool in the original movie. Like the game, yes, but I don't think he was cool in a terrifying way in this one. He was kind of their Darth Vader a little bit, which is the way to get a good villain, like because you don't really get to see much of a reason to care about Shang Tsung for most of it, but it's like, okay, I can identify the problems that Sub-Zero is causing for everyone right now.
Yeah. I was afraid that you were going to say Sub-Zero is cool one more time. I was going to snap.
No, totally unintentional.
Yeah. And that was my point before. Was Chin Han is a great actor. If you haven't seen Marco Polo, you should see that because he's the main villain in the first season. And to see him wasted as generic bad guy who just has his minions do everything, and he kind of seemed lifeless. I mean, it was probably just what he was given, because the original Shang Tsung in the 1995 Mortal Kombat, he was great. I mean, he was also generic bad guy, but he still gave me this persona, this charisma.
He turned it up to 11 that whole movie.
Yeah, Chin Han in as Shang Tsung in this one, and again, it's probably just what he was given. Was just giving me whatever.
Yeah, he's just kind of a stereotypical like imperious, like powerful bad guy. Yeah. Whereas Shang Tsung from the Mortal Kombat is campy as hell. As they said on Cinephobe, acted his ass off. Just like up to 11 at all times. I gotta say though, I had a moment towards the end of this when Kung Lao's era of good feelings kind of comes to an end. What are the rules?
Because I have one of the rules in my notes too.
I always thought the whole deal with Shang Tsung is he had to defeat you in combat, or he would claim you after you've been defeated in combat.
Right.
No, Kung Lao is on top of the world. He's kicking ass, and he just says, "Get over here." I think, right? Didn't he steal that from Scorpion, or does he not actually say it? But he does it. He just uses the Force, pulls him to him,
takes him,
yanks his fucking soul, and I'm like, "What? Whoa! What are the rules? You gotta beat him in battle first, or something, or like." One of your minions defeats him and then you claim his soul. Okay, fair enough. That dude's just been kicking ass. He buzzsawed your fucking harpy
girlfriend
eagle
vampire
thing. Buzzsawed her with his fucking hat.
Yeah.
Got his fucking line out there. Flawless victory. He's on top of the world. And you're just like, I'm done with this. Force, suck your soul. And I'm like, no!
Yeah.
What are the rules?
That was
exactly
that was the reason I wrote that down too. Specifically, was that piece of it. Like,
honestly, that's the only thing. Like, because the rest of it is kind of fungible. No, you're Shang Tsung. You claim souls via victory, whether it be your own personal victory or someone else's on your behalf. But you didn't do anything. You just yanked him over there with the Force, took his soul.
It's not right, man.
Like if he worked him over first and then claimed his soul, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Oh man. That was bizarre. I was really the whole movie. I was looking forward to I enjoy the 95 movie. I enjoy when they're doing the tournament stuff. The whole movie, I'm like, oh, I can't wait till they actually like get into doing like the
Mortal Kombat,
the tournaments, like this person versus this person. Like I want to see, like I'm looking forward to that portion of the movie. Then we're like a quarter of the way through the movie. I'm looking forward to the tournament halfway through the movie. Oh man, really looking forward to that tournament. 3/4 of the movie. Are we not getting the tournament?
Oh wait, so you didn't know you weren't getting the tournament? Because I had heard that before.
No, I didn't know that. I think I might have been better off if I knew that going in, though.
Yes, because
that was frustrating.
Because I kind of went there, I was like, huh, that's interesting. And then I saw the explanation. I was like, oh, like the bad guys try and cheat, and they're going to try and like circumvent the tournament. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. So we're tipping off that there's going to be a tournament in the next movie, whatever. It feels like they kind of inverted the plots of the original movies, because wasn't that the whole deal? Like, first movie, tournament, Shang Tsung's defeated. Second movie, and I never saw all of it. I've seen little bits of it. Was it Shao Kahn? Doesn't he decide, well, fuck this whole tournament thing, I'm just going to sneak in and kill all of you? Like,
yeah. Basically, they win the first one, and then Shao Kahn goes, no.
And he cheats. He literally cheats, which is, now, in this, they're like, Shang Tsung, you're cheating, and he's like,
yeah.
It's a gray area.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, well, I guess I wish I would have known that going in, because I was a little bit bummed out about that. A couple things that I was... All right, 2 questions. First off, I see Dominic. It looks like he said something, but I don't hear him anymore, which is unfortunate. So
can you hear me now?
Hey, yes. There he is. All right.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I don't know what that was, but no, I was saying I didn't mean to cut you off or anything. I was just going to throw in with what Al was saying. Lord Raiden at the end, he watches his Kung Lao gets killed and doesn't do anything. And he's like, oh yeah, I can't get interfered in your guys' tournament too much. But then when Shang Tsung's like, oh yeah, you killed all my fighters, but I'm going to bring an army, he just poofs him away. I'm like, but wait, now you can get involved? And he kind of, and Cole literally was like, hey, didn't you just say you couldn't get involved? And he just kind of,
yeah.
Wait, what?
And he kind of goes,
yeah, but this time,
what did Kung Lao do to you? I was like, Kung Lao's one of your boys.
Raiden's like, yeah, but I really just didn't like Kung Lao.
Yeah, he was like you. He's like, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so Jax's arms question. All right. Did the arms evolve? I'm very confused about what happened with it. He had these scrawny robot arms that then
leveled them up.
He leveled up his arms?
He literally grinded and leveled up his arms.
I want to be mad at what you're saying, but I think that is what happened.
It is what happened. There's not even a debate.
Yeah, that's like I understand. Well, in that moment, he unlocked his whatever.
He unlocked his Arcana, which unlocked his arms.
Right. That's what's interesting. That's like, did you develop more metal bits to the arms so that they could expand? Unclear.
Yeah, because like it would have been okay. The arms look badass, but you're using them like a little bitch, and it's like, okay, no, you have to just develop the synaptic pathways. Are you okay?
Yep. Sorry, I turned and I blasted my knee on the desk.
You sure did. It's like if the arms look the way they're going to look the whole way, like they look like badass arms, but the synaptic processes and pathways aren't fully developed, and you got to train to hone that and everything. Fair enough, but yeah, they were literally like hollow arms, and then they turn into fully formed badass arms.
It was all excusable by how pumped he is after he crushes that guy's head.
I was not expecting him to literally box his ears flat.
Yeah, that was pretty intense. They did some pretty cool stuff with the fatalities.
Yeah. No, some of those when they paired off and had some individual fight scenes and everything, like there's some cool shit. Although I'm a little disappointed that what was the name of the character who was in as someone called it, the Iron
Cabal?
Cable.
That was Cabal. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Cabal.
He had those cool swords that anyone who's ever watched the Deadliest Warrior show, wasn't that what it was? The one that was voiced by David Wenham that was on Dominic Speak. There was one of the I forget which episode. I forget which one it was that they did it where they had
Shaolin Monk versus Maori Warrior.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. Shaolin Monk versus Maori Warrior.
And the Shaolin Monk Dominic wins. I used to love that.
Dominic loved that show. I liked it a lot. I watched it a decent amount. They showed those swords, and the whole point of those swords having the hooks on the end is you hook them together, and then you get one long sword. He never did that, did he?
No.
And I'm like, I remember seeing him. I was like, that's the show from fucking Deadliest Warrior. Awesome. I can't wait till he does that. He never did it. And I'm like, come on.
Well, also what I don't get was... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
He was gonna say he didn't use those weapons that well, but I was actually really pumped at how they utilized the character's special moves of like
that part was cool.
That dash thing that he does was so true to the character. I was like, that was awesome. When he did the first time, I was like, okay, someone's paying attention.
Yeah, no, that part was cool. Like the way they chose to like choreograph those fights and like accentuate the powers and everything like that. There was some really cool shit in that, like the Cabal thing fighting Liu Kang. Lose powers when he starts breaking out the fucking fire, and then the dragon at the end was really fucking badass. That was awesome. Great, like the cow. What the hell was his name? The one with the hat.
Kung Lao.
Yeah, Kung Lao.
Yeah, Kung Lao.
I almost
cow.
Well, I said cow, but what actually was that was because I was trying to stop myself from saying Kun Lun because I was thinking of Iron Fist.
It's
Iron Fist or Iron Lung.
Yeah,
it's
Kung Lao.
Yeah. It's Kung Pao, actually.
Kung Pao?
And according to
no,
Kano.
it's not, he's...
That's
right.
Yeah. He's horrible.
Yeah, when Kung Lao is doing all the stuff with the hat, at first I was like, come on, that's not real. And then he turns it into just literally a buzzsaw. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then he surfed someone through the buzzsaw.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
The physics of that, not sure how his feet didn't get clipped.
Don't care.
It was pretty awesome. Also, I was like, who is this? What is this character, this flying thing? I'm not familiar with this character. Oh, I feel like maybe you're just bringing in here to be cut in half. Seems like that might have been what was going on.
No one will care about this character if they get cut in half. Go for it.
I thought it was kind of cool that they did the reptile as a reptile.
But they've already done that.
Yeah, but I mean, it looked cooler.
Well, it definitely looked better because that is known historically as one of the worst CGIs of all time. In the Mortal Kombat. Also, never understood why it turns into bugs.
Yeah.
Snakes, a little tiny snakes, maybe, or whatever.
Maybe.
Can I ask, what is Kung Lao's arcana? Is it that he has the Force? Because clearly he can summon his hat with the powers of the Force.
He has the hat of Thor.
It's that he has a hat that is one part Mjolnir and one part Captain America's shield.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what is his arcana exactly? I was a little bit confused. Yeah, with the what are the rules with the arcanas? Because some of them make sense, like Liu getting fire powers in this sense, but Jax's arms getting bigger, or what's his name? Cole getting a set of armor on him. I was just like, does he have to wear that armor forever? Like, how does that work? Is it like
no? It looked like he turned it on and off.
I say it's like Tony Stark's suit or whatever. Like I don't know.
Sonya Blade's like laser arms, laser circles, whatever those are. She uses them once and blasts a hole directly in. Oh, I mean, can we just send her in to fight everybody else?
She's basically just the Shocker from the Spider-Man.
Yeah, except her lasers go directly through people.
By the way, why did it blast only the soft tissue and leave the spine fully intact?
Let the spine
great
intact.
Question. It's a great question. There is no answer.
Like perfect circle, all the soft tissue totally disintegrated, spine totally intact.
Yeah. So
Goro got wrecked. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Oh no, I was just saying. I was thinking about. I was reading an article today about what characters could we see in the next movie. I was gonna bring up Goro later if you didn't, because I thought they did him dirty. But the characters. I mean, like Johnny Cage, we're gonna see him because that was like the post credit scene or the end credit scene, and I saw people said there was like Katana's fan blades, so she'll probably be in it. But I'm curious to see what characters are next. But yeah, go ahead and talk about Goro.
Yeah, well, there's so many of them that'll be cool. They definitely put a lot up front, but I'm looking forward to seeing a bunch more. Goro didn't look so bad.
Yeah, that was solid. Ended up being solid.
I'm still on board with Rubber Goro, but this was fine.
Rubber Goro was fucking ridiculous.
It looks like when Arnold is out in the atmosphere in Mars.
Oh no!
That's what Rubber Goro looks like. But he gets wrecked. Arm cut off. He gets gutted.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was an intense. Yeah, like the battle doesn't seem. It seems very one-sided once our new character gets his powers.
Yeah, and like he was still trying to learn how to do them, and like they weren't even like anything that overwhelming at that point.
And then wait, didn't he actually? he cut his hand off and he gored him with the little blade, right? So that's not even his.
What do you mean?
He used that little
it
scorpion
was
blade that he ends up giving to Scorpion.
Which wasn't even a blade, it was a fucking trowel.
Right. It was just sharp enough to slice him open.
To eviscerate Prince Goro.
Prince Goro. Interesting. So I guess they're going to be real mad. I guess Shao Kahn's going to be real mad in the next one. Is that what it's going to be?
Yeah. I always really
Shang Tsung's still around.
Yeah, you fight him before Shao Kahn.
I enjoyed in the 95 Mortal Kombat, every time Goro's on screen, you get those two random henchmen who are just like, yeah, Goro!
Gotta have a fan club, man.
I know. But then in the that one, like, he didn't do anything against Johnny Cage, and Johnny Cage just kind of kicks him off a landing, and that's how he died. At least in this one, it was moderately more exciting the way he went out. But yeah, I wish we could actually see him, like, kick ass in this one. We didn't even get to see him. He should have been the one who killed Kung Lao or something. Like, we didn't actually get to see him do anything in this one, Goro. He beats up Cole, but, like, we don't care because we know he's not going to die. So
that's true. But in the end, though, like, Goro is so gigantic that he's moving real slow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like any of these characters that are a little bit faster or on their feet, they're going to have the upper hand.
No, but it would have made sense if he, like, I don't know, caught Kung Lao's hat and then, like, broke it and then, like, grabbed him with his forearms and tore him in half.
Yes.
And then then, like, used the force to, like, yank his soul. And it's like, okay, you know what? Fair enough. And then, you know, what's his name shows up and stabs him with a small digging implement. I'm really caught up on the fact that was very clearly what the wife was using as a trowel to do gardening. Yeah,
you're not wrong.
Also, I thought it was a little weird how they yada yada the fact that baby was what's his name's great.
That was poorly handled.
Well, it's so poorly handled because Raiden shows up, takes in the little baby, like raises the baby at the monastery, and then I guess kicked it to the curb, and it just went on to live a totally normal life. Like, if you know that the bloodline is going to be what you need, wouldn't you cultivate that talent in your temple for the generations?
It would seem that way.
Also, I hate
maybe there's more to that story.
They felt the need to put it on screen after that opening sequence about the tournament and all that, and I'm like, no, stop with this force-fed exposition because you're going to do it in 20 minutes with Sonya Blade too. So it was very and Shang Tsung says the same shit. So I'm like, why did they even bother putting that on screen?
Exposition so nice they did it thrice.
Nice. Yeah, I was like, you really not trust your audience to understand? Fighters go punch, fighters go pow. End of world. Like that's the premise of this entire movie, and they can't trust us to understand that.
Can we talk about the moment that they chose to just have Liu Kang flexing ridiculously?
Okay, glad you have that because I have Liu Kang's back muscles on my
just all of the muscles. Like, by all means, super impressive and everything. But like, what specifically was going on that we needed to watch him just flex for like 10 straight seconds?
It's also unclear, like what he was actually. You know what he was doing with his entire body? What that guy's doing in that scene in the Hulk with Ed Norton when he's doing that breathing exercise, but instead of just using his abs, he's using his entire back. And it's like not only do you see his muscles, but you see the lines in the muscles. So I mean, first off, we need to get this guy a glass of water. That's one, because he is severely dehydrated, and like, but that was ridiculous. Too skinny to have all his muscles.
I mean, by all means, I did not expect to see that under when he's like wearing a shirt and everything takes it off. Like, oh fuck, that dude is really ripped. But like, what specifically is he doing
right? Right. He's hulking out.
I did appreciate some of what Liu got to do. It was a little weird because Liu kind of was like the audience stand-in in the original movie, and in this case, he's kind of the mentor. It was kind of cool to see him with his fully formed like powers and like fighting techniques and all that. Although just watching him leg whip fucking Kano like 18 times in a row
that was awesome. I like that.
But I appreciated, like the more refined fighting techniques that we got from him later on. I liked that they threw in the little him flying and kicking
the bicycle kick
times.
Yeah.
The fire stuff was cool. I totally forgot that was a thing that Liu Kang did.
Did he just throw a fireball? I just love how pumped Kano is. It's like, am I going to learn how to do that? Oh my god, am I gonna learn how to do that?
I'm just very disappointed with the way they got rid of Kano at the end. I was like, that's how you're gonna kill him, where she sticks a garden gnome in his eye? Like, because he's like
Chekhov's garden gnome.
Chekhov's garden gnome.
He was the only one bringing any life into this movie. You got rid of him. So hopefully Johnny Cage can replace that.
I was it's going to have to be a lot of heavy lifting by Johnny Cage next game. Mm-hmm. Next movie, same thing, whatever.
That or give the characters that we have more to do, because again, like Kano was like, in like the Scorpion Sub-Zero thing was the only character or conflict I really enjoyed in this movie.
Yeah.
No, Dominic, we were discussing, me and Anthony and Brian earlier today, who was supposed to join us but is unable to due to his schedule. Who would you cast as Johnny Cage for the next movie?
I was thinking about that earlier today. I was thinking Chris Pratt could be a good one.
Okay, he could do the wisecracking part of it.
Well, he's pretty buff too.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that he couldn't handle the physicality. I don't know how much like fight training he has. Like that part of it might be awkward. He could be a brawler, I guess. I had mentioned Chris Evans.
I was thinking of him earlier today too.
From Scott Pilgrim, I feel like was Lucas Lee, wasn't that the character? That is basically Johnny Cage, isn't it? Like I would hope he wouldn't do the voice that he was doing in that, but like that character.
I kind of hope he does.
Just like the whole like bravado, the whole "fuck you, I'm a star" thing. Like like that's who Johnny Cage is, and obviously he can handle the physicality of the role as well. He's done fight scenes for Captain America a lot. You know, I don't know that they'll necessarily have to get him as pumped up as they got him to look for Captain America, but he can handle that part of it as well. I would think he would. Now, I don't think you could get Chris Evans to do that, but he would be, I feel like, the perfect casting for that role.
Yeah, I think it would be good. But that'd be fun. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. I can't imagine it's going to be anybody big.
Probably not. I still think that the because he'll pretty much chase any paycheck. I thought Jason Statham would actually be perfect. Yeah. I will defer to what Brian said that he needs hair, but you can easily put a wig on him.
He's a little old, though, for that.
I mean, he kind of hasn't basically aged in the last 10 years, so.
That's true.
He doesn't have to be a young hotshot. He can be the fully formed action star Johnny Cage. He doesn't have to be... I mean, I agree that, like, ultimately, yeah, he's probably older than you'd like him to be, but whatever. Like, he can still do all the fucking stunts, and he actually can do the fighting and choreography. So.
Yeah.
Who would you have, Anthony? I don't even remember who I said. I was on board with the suggestions that Al was giving out, but I think I made some like silly comments that I wasn't actually super serious about. Al, do you remember what I... No,
I forgot, because I know Brian made some kind of random...
Oh, I said Bill Burr. That was one of my jokes.
Yeah, which, no.
I said John Cena, and I wasn't kidding. I think that actually he could pull that off. And
I could see that.
Yeah,
I want to agree with that because, like, I think hypothetically, like, I see where you're going, and like you have the right instinct there. I just think he'd be too stiff. I think Johnny Cage needs to be like crack wise faster and all that. Like, I don't think that John Cena actually. I can't believe I'm saying this for a Mortal Kombat movie. I don't know that John Cena actually has the acting chops for the role.
I don't know. I've seen him in a couple things here and there, even in comedy roles where he's been very funny. So I feel like he might be able to pull it off.
He's been funny, but I don't know why I just feel like Johnny Cage has to be able to like go. You know what I mean? Like he can't have like that pause type of thing. Like he was funny in that movie. Blocker.
He needs to have a more like a Ryan Reynolds like quip style response.
Yeah, I think so. Like honestly, Ryan Reynolds would be good too, but he's also getting towards the older.
He actually, he would probably be great.
One wonders actually even whether Ryan Reynolds had modeled himself ever so slightly off of Johnny Cage, just with like the whole persona.
Yeah, that's funny. Anybody have any other thoughts on Mortal Kombat before we wrap up for this evening?
Dominic?
No, I don't think I have any other thoughts. Sorry, I had to pick something up. I would say that I'm excited for a sequel. I know what the director said he was trying to do with just get people on board and kind of boost its popularity to new people. I am excited for a sequel. I hope they really try and work on the story and like the characters a little bit, because I think if you have another one of these movies where it's just like great action sequences and stuff, but like nobody cares about the characters for the most part, I think you're gonna run into some problems. So I do hope that, and like I said, I don't think a ton of movies need to be much longer, but I think this one deserved to be a little bit longer to just give me a couple moments to give a shit about some more of these characters.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching another one.
Yeah, I was kind of in the same lane where it's like I didn't love this. I didn't hate it. It was just fine. It was okay. It had its moments. I would lean into the fun a little bit more in the next.
Yeah, I agree.
The Kano stuff, take the banter, and you don't have to necessarily go to the full level that the original one did because that can go off the rails so easily. But this is never gonna be a quote unquote serious or like take yourself serious thing. So don't take yourself so seriously. Like just allow yourself to get a little weirder.
You know what? There's so many video games that I feel like are perfect to be adapted into a film. Under no circumstances would I have ever thought that Mortal Kombat would have made a good movie. And this is the third one.
Yeah.
So
I'm still waiting on the Mario Brothers reboot.
Oh man.
The dark, gritty
Yeah.
Mario Brothers reboot where like they're actual down in their luck plumbers in the middle of a depression. And then at the end of the movie
they take shrooms.
Oh my yeah, because like that's what we're gonna get at this point, right? Is there ain't gonna be any fucking like Mario Land like shit. It's gonna be like this. Like we don't get Mario Brothers until the last 12 minutes of the movie.
That's right.
We're just honest to God hardcore plumbing.
Oh man.
And obviously Mario's an alcoholic in this.
Yeah, that sounds like Bridge to Terabithia. Like, you guys ever read that when you were younger or see the movie?
I definitely read the book, but I did not see the movie.
Yeah. From what I remember, it was like these two like young teenagers like go out to the middle of the woods and imagine their own fantasy land, and that's kind of how I picture Mario Brothers. But it's like also depressing because like I think there was some family turmoil with the one of them, and then eventually like the one character like slips and breaks her neck. So like I kind of picture.
Oh yeah, the girl definitely breaks her neck and dies.
Yeah. So,
dear.
That. Yeah, I know. It's depressing. So that's what I'm saying.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I for sure read that book when I was 10 years old.
I picture that in the same mold of this Mario sequel that we're talking about, or reboot, where you know they are in the middle of the Great Depression and they're Italian immigrants in New York City and they take shrooms to escape their miserable lives. That's kind of how I'm picturing
Mario drinks and beats his wife. Luigi kills bums on the weekend.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Let's get out of here.
Princess Peach is a prostitute on the streets of New York. Bowser's
100%.
Bowser's a mafia lord. He's like a mafioso. I kind of want to make this movie now. I kind of want to make this movie now.
Somehow it's still Dennis Hopper though.
Oh yeah.
I kind of want to make this movie.
Oh boy. Well, that is all for this week's episode of Flix in the Six. We hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you have a movie for us to review or nuggets for us to discuss, you can send those requests to flixinthe6@thespintune.com or tweet us at thespintune. Tune in next week for more movie and beer goodness. Until then, I'm Anthony Costanzo.
Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo played Italian brothers.
That's right.
And this is the Peanut Gallery signing off.
Thanks for coming out.